The arsenal was pillaged in the Ministry of Interior, military court building, police headquarters, law courts, and scores of police buildings were set on fire. Order broke down, and members of the Duma and the Soviet formed a provisional government to try to restore order. They issued a demand that Nicholas must abdicate. Faced with this demand, which was echoed by his generals, deprived of local loyal troops and his family firmly in the hands of the provisional government, and fearful of unleashing civil war, opening way for the German conquest, Tsar Nicholas II, abdicated.
No, I mean, better now than getting abdicated, which
Yeah,
is a different type of thing.
yeah. So he advocated. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said he knew when to quit.
Yeah. Well, shoot, the whole country was on fire for the second time.
Yeesh. Yeesh.
So the provisional government is now in charge. It's sending shockwaves across the world. The United States was the first foreign government to recognize the provisional government.
Mm-hmm.
The Tsar's abdication was greeted with many emotions, including delight, relief, fear, anger, and confusion. The provisional government and Nicholas wanted the royal family to go into exile following his abdication, with the United Kingdom being the preferred option. The British government luckily offered the family asylum on March 19, 1917, though it was suggested it would be better for the Romanovs to go to a neutral country. News of the offer provoked uproar from the Labour Party of the United Kingdom, and many liberals, including British ambassador Sir George Buchanan, advised the government that the extreme left could use the ex-Tsar's presence as an excuse for rousing public opinion against us. The Prime Minister at the time, David Lloyd George, preferred the family went to a neutral country and wanted the offer to be announced as a request of the Russian government. The offer of asylum was withdrawn in April following objections by King George V, acting in advance of his secretary, Arthur Beatty, the first Baron Stamfordham. It's worried that the Nicholas presence might invoke an uprising like the previous year's Easter Rising in Ireland.
Oh, wow.
The French government declined to accept the Romanovs in view of the increasing arrest of the Western Front in the ongoing war with Germany. Even if his offered asylum had been forthcoming, there would have been other obstacles to overcome. The provisional government only remained power throughout an uneasy alliance with the Petrograd Soviet, an agreement known as dual power. So no one will take this guy. He's imprisoned.
Okay.
He's placed under house arrest.
Mm-hmm. And then
which includes he's moved around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The leader of the provisional government, Alexander Knitsky, who had taken over as prime minister, selected the town of Tubatsky in western Siberia to house the Romanov family. Then in October 1917, guess what happened?
What happened?
The Bolsheviks seized power for the provisional government. Oh, man.
And they were mad.
Yeah, they also didn't know what to do with this guy. So they keep the family there where they're currently at.
Mm-hmm.
February 1918, the Council of the People's Commissars in Moscow, the new capital, announced that state subsidies for the family had been dramatically reduced. Okay, so they're under house arrest. They're under house arrest, but they really are still living their same lives, other than the fact they can't leave where they are. They're still getting they were comfortable as hell, still doing 3 squares a day of good food from the provisional government. They're still getting their subsidies. They're still doing all that. They're still doing like playing their games, even though Nicholas is like taking his son and some of his daughters to like make it look like they're working everyday people chopping wood and shit like that. But they're still like, they don't feel the
punishment,
the pain, the punishment, and the pain of everyone else out there.
Right.
And then the Bolsheviks take over, and they were like,
That party is
The party's fucking over, guys. Party's fucking over. So, and the Bolsheviks take over, and immediately the Bolsheviks get a peace treaty with Germany and the Axis powers to get them out of World War One,
right.
which they have to give up Poland, Finland, the Baltic states, most of Belarus, Ukraine, Crimea, most of the Caucasus, and small parts of Russia proper, including areas of Peskov and Rostov on Don.
That's a lot of area.
Yeah, especially Ukraine. We're not going to talk about that because of what's going on now. You're hearing this. It's gotten worse, but we're not talking about that. But you see where this shit started.
Right.
So they live in this. Their life is dramatically cut in half, and also at the same time, when they left the Imperial Palace, the Romanov daughters had sold their jewels into their clothing.
Yeah.
So they took all their jewels with them, and they sold them into their clothing, so no one would steal them.
Of course.
So later they moved to a 2-story Ipitich house. I hope I'm pronouncing it. Ipitich house. And that's their last residence.
Where was it?
It was in God, where is this at? It's in Russia. It's God damn. It doesn't say exactly where it was. Oh, Yekaterinburg.
Okay.
Yeah, Yekaterinburg. So that's their last residence. The first week of June, the Bolsheviks had becoming alarmed by the revolt of the Czechoslovakia Legion, whose forces were approaching that city from the east, and prompted waves of execution and murders of those in the region who were believed to be counter-revolutionaries. Now, they're out of World War One. Now they're in the Russian Civil War. A lot of shit's going on. Throughout, Bolshevik leadership in Moscow still intended to bring Nicholas to trial as the military situation deteriorated. Leon Trotsky and Yavets Surodal began to publicly inquire about the possible fate of the former Tsar.
Mm-hmm.
A coded telegram arrived in Moscow from Yekaterinburg that evening after Vladimir Lenin, who's become the leader of the Bolsheviks, and Siradot had confirmed the reply was sent. Throughout, no trace of the document has ever been found. And there's a lot of talk whether Vladimir Lenin had ordered the death of the Romanovs. There's no evidence pointing that he did, but at the same time, he learned about it after that he had died.
It was ordered by someone.
It was ordered by someone. It's probably if it wasn't Lenin, I don't believe it was Lenin. I believe it was the local Soviet council in that area that had ordered it. And Lenin found out about it, but he didn't condemn it because this man had ordered the execution of his brother in 1895. So he kind of wanted revenge. So, but he didn't order the murder.
Right.
So, get to the end. Around 2 a.m. on July 17th, 1918, the royal family was awakened, got dressed, and were led down to a half basement room in the back of the Impavich house.
And this was as a result of it being heard that all of these anti-forces were coming to free them.
Yeah, they were coming to free them. That's what they were hearing. The city was encircled by white forces, forces that were opposing the Bolsheviks over the Reds. They were possibly coming to free these people and put them back on the throne. So this move was made. So present with Nicholas, Alexandria, and their children were their doctor and 3 of their servants.
Yep.
Yeah, who were voluntarily, they said they voluntarily chose to remain with
Shit.
the family.
I bet you they didn't.
No, they did because they had a chance to leave. Like there was one servant that they had. I guess it was servant, bodyguard, whatever you want to call him. He was a black man from the United States named Hercules.
Tragic.
Here's the thing.
All the tragic.
Yeah, the Tsar and his family loved him.
No, get the hell out of here.
I'm serious. They loved him. They treated him better than the Tsar treated Jews.
Mm-mm.
They treated this man better. Like he got a really good paycheck from his family. Like he would go visit his family back in the United States. I believe he was from St. Louis or the South, and come back on his vacation because he would get every year get a vacation. He would go back to the United States and visit his family, and he would bring back like jarred jams, like blueberry jam, and the Tsar and Alexandria and his kids loved that jam. They wrote about it in their diary, and they were like, "Can you bring us more of this jam every time you go back to the United States?" So yeah, he did that when they were in power, and they loved they treated him like when he advocated the phone, they gave him a huge. He made the provisional government part of him advocating give this man Hercules a pension. And he received a pension to the day he died. He stayed in Russia. The Bolsheviks didn't bother him. He was a black guy living in Russia. And he received a pension from the even after the provisional government was overthrown and the Bolsheviks came into power, they still honored and gave him that pension. And he received it to the day he died.
To the day he what?
He died.
Continue.
I think he died in the 1970s.
Okay.
So the Tsar's personal physician, his wife's maid, and a family chef, and a footman
Terrible.
were all with the family.
A footman.
A firing squad had been assembled and was waiting in a adjoining room composed of 7 communist soldiers from Central Europe and 3 local Bolsheviks under the command of Uritsky. Nicholas was carrying his son when the family arrived at the basement, and the former Tsar asked if chairs could be brought in for his wife and his son to sit on. Uritsky ordered 2 chairs brought in, and when the Empress and the heir were seated, executioners filed into the room. Uritsky announced to them that the Euro-Soviet of Workers' Deputies had decided to execute him. A stunned Nicholas asked, What did you say?" and turned towards his family. Uritsky quickly repeated the order. Nicholas said, according to Peter Ivanovich, who was in the room and one of the executors, "you know not what you do." The executor's like, "Yeah, we know what we're doing. We're killing you." The executors drew handguns and began shooting. I mean,
and that's it.
We'll talk. Nicholas died first. You know, I'm not gonna get into because like what historians and people in like movies report, like they were just all gunned down and that was it. No, it's brutal.
Yeah,
what they did. It's brutal. I'm not gonna get into it. There's another podcast.
They shot them. Other things happened.
Yeah, they shot them, and
not all the bodies were found. Not all the parts of the bodies were found.
No, because not only they shot them, the remember I told you how they sewed gems into the girls' clothing.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a bulletproof vest, so the girls didn't die in that first volley.
Mm-hmm.
And they ended up getting bayoneted and throats were I'm not going to go into it. If you so want to hear
they killed
what, yeah, then there's another podcast, Behind the Bastards. They did a 4-parter on the Tsar to get more in depth than what we got in this show. They'll tell you what happened at the end, or you could just read a book. So they took the bodies out.
Read the internet.
Yeah, just read the internet or a book, whatever.